And now for a look at China's stock market, which has been growing in importance. And to break that all down for us, Terrett has this from the New York Stock Exchange.
By and large, Chinese stocks are mainly domestically owned. That is to say, most of them are bought by Chinese individuals or Chinese companies or Chinese organizations. It's only about 5% of the China stocks that are owned by people who live outside of China, overseas buyers. Domestic buyers buy A shares, foreign buyers buy B shares. And it's fair to say that generally speaking, stocks that trade within China are rather less tied to the vagaries of the economy than are stocks here in New York. You know, because you hear me say time and time again, if there is some company earnings that are good or bad, or an upgrade or a downgrade, or any piece of information from the central bank, it can move not only an individual stock, but the entire sector that that stock is in, and indeed sometimes the entire bourse, like the Dow or the NASDAQ. Now, generally speaking, just speaking in general terms, people who start companies in China prefer to go for bank loans rather than raising equity capital. And I think it's also true to say that while Shanghai is the third biggest stock market in the world and certainly the biggest in Asia, Hong Kong, for historical reasons, is known really for its diversity of companies. There are far more overseas companies, I think, trading there. It's more of an international hub. And that is why Beijing likes to refer Chinese companies that it wishes to delist in New York, or who have been told to delist in New York, it refers them to the Hong Kong stock market. And we've seen that in recent history in the last year or so with several of the Chinese telecoms companies. But it is also true to say that people here who invest in Chinese stocks are only too well aware that when they do that, there will always be things about investing in China that they can't control. So from that perspective, it is a little bit more risky than, say, putting your money into a US corporation, but the returns could be even greater. Terrett, CGTN, on the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange.